All right, Shalom. Want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone, and willing to teach well. Peace of salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. All right, so I wanted to give a quick lesson. It's going to be a super quick lesson. And I wanted to do the difference, or just speak about the difference between reading and studying. There's a big difference between reading and studying. All right. I did a lesson like a week or two, a few weeks back on understanding punctuation. And really, that's like a part one because there's a whole bunch of punctuation that's written in the scriptures that you need to understand. And understanding punctuation will help you better study. But when, an elder or a brother, one second. Salaki, but like whenever, the elder or whatnot of a camp tells you, okay, y'all need to go read. Sometimes he means that literally, or, they mean that literally. And really what I want to paint the picture on is eating the entire roll, okay? So that's why I want to say there's a difference between reading and studying, and both are good and beneficial for you. You just need to know when to implement one of the two. You see what I'm saying? Not every day, sometimes not every day it's a study, but it could be a read. And not every day it is a read, but it's a particular study. And you need to know the difference between them. So, prime example, and I'm going to give a true example, and I guess this is general speaking. When you are assigned to read maybe one or two books for the week, those one or two books, no matter the length of them, you could be reading a lengthy book of Isaiah, for that week. That book of Isaiah should be done by that week. Like that simple. Because you're just reading it. So we're going to get into, and before I make that, so reading is reading is passively, and I looked this up. So this is off of things that I've looked up. So reading is, and I wrote these notes down that I'm about to read to you right now. So reading is passively absorbing text for general understanding or enjoyment, while studying is actively engaging with material through analysis, practice, and deeper processing to truly learn and retain it for a specific purpose. And I saw this example on Google, and it says, think of reading as looking at the Grand Canyon from afar, and studying as hiking through it to see every detail. So there's a specific difference between reading and studying. So whenever you're tasked by a head of your camp or the head of whatever, and you're tasked to do a reading, and you're tasked, oh, I need y'all to read the book of Isaiah this week. The book should be really the book should be done in 2 days. you could get through the book in 1 day. You could get through the book of Isaiah in 1 day if you just read. Again, reading is passively absorbing the text. Studying is actively engaging in the material and analysis in a deeper processing. So therefore, studying is going to take you a longer time to go through it. Do not misconstrue what reading is and what studying is. So when you're tasked to read something and then after the week is over, you're asked, did you read this? And you're like, oh, I'm halfway through it. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. That's extreme bullshit. If you're tasked to read 2 books, those 2 books should have been done in 2 days. And then you can study those 2 books in the last 5 days that you have throughout the week, the so-called week that Esau calls, Sunday through Monday or whatever. Okay? So you have 2 days of reading. Read it through. It's not hard. You have audio Bibles nowadays. Me personally, I like to read from the physical Bible and just read it. And then you have the rest of the remainder of the week, or however long it takes you just to read the books. It shouldn't take you more than, it shouldn't take you more than 3 days. Let me say that, to read 1 book. And especially if if you're reading comprised of oh, y'all only reading, let's say, the book of Obadiah and the book of Hosea. That should take you right there 2 hours, if that. You know what I'm saying? And then you study those two books for the rest of the week. And then when you're asked, did you read these books? You can be like, yes, I read these books. And then you can reply with, and I'm currently studying them now. So here's the word read in the etymology. It says to counsel, advise. All right. And there's a difference between a counsel and there's a difference between advise as well. But that's another topic for another day. And matter of fact, you go look it up if you want what the difference is from it. It says to read. It says to persuade, discuss, deliberate, rule, guide, arrange, acquit. All right. It says to learn through reading, to put in order. That's what reading does for you. You cannot study something unless you have to read it first, and then you study what it says. Okay? So prime example, whenever you take like an exam, you read the question, and then you read, for me at least, you read the question. If it's multiple choice, you read the multiple choice answers, and then you may go back and study exactly what that question may be asking you so you can understand what answer you should choose. You see? So you can read it real quick. Okay, I got a general understanding of what that means. I got a general understanding of what these 4 ABCD answers mean. Now let me go back to the question and study it to see what it's actually asking me. There's a difference between that, okay? So let's go to the word study. It says study, to strive toward. The word strive means to fight. So you are fighting towards an understanding of a particular scripture or a chapter that you are studying that you have already read. You see what I'm saying? It says devote oneself to. Cultivate. Cultivation takes time. All right? It takes time. It says study, apply oneself, show zeal for, examine. These are completely different adjectives and words to describe the word study than from the word read. These words are intensified that are in the definition of study. These words are a little bit laid back from what you get from study, and that's exactly the difference. Reading is a more laid back verb or action than actually studying. Study can get intense, okay? And can be, at times, if you do it too much, weary. All right? 1 second. Okay. One second. Just something I want to pull up real quick. I'm just searching for it because I kind of had a brain fart about where it was. This is what I want. It's a classic script too, man. It is a classic script. Y'all know exactly where I'm about to go to. I don't know why I had a brain fart about it. Ecclesiastes 12:12. It says, further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is weariness of the flesh. So some days you don't, and I'm not telling you what to do. Y'all are grown men in this truth, right? But 7 days a week of studying, you can wear yourself out. But if you implement reading, okay, you do like a 2-1-2, something like that, or 1-2-1, something like that. So like you got Monday, Tuesday you read, Wednesday you study, Thursday you read, Friday you study, Saturday you study, Sunday you rest, something like that. And I'm not saying Sunday is the Sabbath. Come on now, you know what I'm saying? But you and you do it like that. Because also too, like on a Sabbath, that studying could be wearisome, which is laborious. All right, and you want to rest on a Sabbath day, so you may just read instead of doing an intensive study. You see what I'm saying? You got to know the difference. The main purpose of this is what I want to bring out is that when you're told to read something, that shit should get done within a day or two, to be real. We're not telling you to study it. We're telling you to read it. All right? So there's a big difference. So if we come back and it's been a week and we told you to read 1 or 2 books, there should be no excuse for you not to have read those books. And this all boils back down to reading the entire roll, which I'm going to get into here in a little bit here. Because I say a little bit because Bishop Tazawam here in the Atlanta camp already did a wonderful lesson about eating the roll. You see what I'm saying? And that's just simply comprised of reading. Of course, you're not, if you're a first time reading Songs of Solomon, of course you're not going to understand it the first time. Of course you're not. Of course you're not. But read it. Okay? Same thing, you go in the Lamentations or something, like, you got to just read it. And then you can go back and study it later to understand the poetic, that book is poetic as all get out, nature of the book. All right? And that's when you study. But there's a big difference between each. So with that being, so that's a precept for studying. And I'm not telling you not to study, but control your study. Okay? But you need to understand when to read and just read. All right. This is, do I want to go to this? No, I want to go to this. This is, no, I want to go to this. And I always bring this out. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 14. Because this is a direct precept to the Ezekiel when he ate the whole roll. But there's something I want to get into here. It says, 2nd Ezra chapter 14, it says, and the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Ezra, open thy mouth and drink that I give thee to drink. You got to understand that too. So, matter of fact, I'm going to read these 2 precepts alongside because they kind of go with one another. So, that voice told Ezra to open thy mouth and drink that I give thee to drink. The drinking is what you need to read. Okay? All right? So you need to drink as much as you need to eat the roll. It's balanced. It's balanced. That's why you use these precepts. Through thy precepts, I get understanding. Okay? When you eat something, you have something to wash it down with as well. All right? So this is Ecclesiasticus, the 31st chapter. And we're going to start at verse 12. It says, if thou sit at a bountiful table, be not greedy upon it, and say not, there is much meat on it. Right. And the bountiful table is the Bible that the Lord has provided us with. It has a lot of information and it's free for the taking. It is a buffet. You get it freely. You know what I'm saying? But be not greedy upon it. As soon as you get greedy or gluttonous, there, like the scriptures say, knowledge puffeth up. Now you're going to start thinking something of yourself when you really don't know what you ought to know, like the scriptures say in the same chapter or in the same book, Corinthians. Okay, so skip down to verse 14. It says, stretch not thine hand whitherso it looketh, meaning you need to have some type of temperance. So that even plays a part here when between the difference with reading and studying. You got to know when to control yourself from studying and just read. Because even when you read, what does that mean? Hold that thought. Just like sometimes you be at camp, I got to preach. And the speaker be like, hold it. Hold your peace, brother. You know what I'm saying? Hold your peace. You got to hold that thought while you're reading and just read it. Get the general, like again, I'm going to go back to what my note said. Reading is passively absorbing the text. for general understanding. So just continue to read, even though a question may stem in your mind and you may want to look it up right then and there. You're not done with the chapter. Read it. You see what I'm saying? So it says, stretch not thine hand whithersoever it looketh, and thrust it not with him into the dish. Okay? Like, the scripture is going to go into itself because it's going to say, don't be unsatiable. Meaning, just don't be greedy. All right? And there's a point in here I want to get at. But let's go back to 2nd Ezra 38. So now we understand, 2nd Ezra 14 and 38. Now we understand that he was told to drink something. So verse 39, he says, Then open I my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup. All right? And that full cup is the Bible, which was full, as it were, with water, but the color of it was like fire. Verse 40, and I took it and drank. He read it. He read it. He read it. Okay? And there's a colon there, so I'm pausing. All right? So he was given what he was supposed to be given. All right? Same thing with us. Now let's skip down to Sirach 31 and 16. Eat as it becometh a man those things which are set before thee. And the Bible has been set before you. Eat the whole roll and drink it all. It's been set before you. Okay? Colon. Let's stop right there and go back to 2nd Ezra, because like I did in my last lesson, the lesson prior, a colon means there's an explanation coming for what was just said. And that's how you study, though. You understand those punctuations. And now, okay, and I took it and drank. Now we're going to see some understanding. And let me explain what happened to you when I took it and drank. And when I had drunk of it, my heart uttered understanding. That's what happened to me when I drank or when I read this entire book. Okay? Then the understanding came. Through what? Study. You see what I'm saying? So let's go back to Sirach, the 31st chapter, in verse 16. It says, Eat as it becometh a man those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. You study too much, knowledge puffeth up, and now bro's looking at you like, look at this know-it-all. Nigga, we all know. You see what I'm saying? Good whoop-de-doo, bro. Good, congratulations. You want a pat on the back? You want a cookie? You want a brownie? We all know. We get it, bro. That's why when you go into the word study, what does it say there? Zeal. Yes, it gives you a burning fire and passion when you get the understanding of something. But don't over-devour. And don't thirst your hand first, meaning have your temperance about yourself when you gain that knowledge as well, and control it. Control it. Verse 17, leave off first for manner's sake. And applying it to what I'm talking about, leave off first for manner's sake. Just read first. Let the understanding come when it comes. And be not unsatiable or greedy, lest thou offend. Exactly. Now you're thinking you're knowing the same thing as an elder, and you don't. And you haven't even read the whole book, but you be studying only one chapter or one book. All you do is study 1st and 2nd Ezra's, and you ain't read nothing else. But you just think you know everything about the prophecy and stuff like that. And I'm not speaking towards anyone. I'm just talking. But you see what I'm saying there? There's a big difference between you reading and then you studying. All right, going back, says, my heart understanding and wisdom grew in my breast, for my spirit strengthened my memory. Because after he read everything, then the understanding came through the studying. And now I got the understanding. Now I got this knowledge. Now I'm applying the knowledge, which is turning into wisdom. And now I'm strengthening my memory. Now I understand when certain situations come up in my life, my memory recollects something that I've read some time back, and it comes to the forefront, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do here. Knowledge, now I go do it and act on it, wisdom. Do you see what I'm saying there? So simply put, when you're told to read something, just read it. If you're told to read one or this chapter or that chapter or this book or that book, just read the book. It should only take you some books. It should only take you 3 hours to read or 2 hours to read, especially if there's ability to get the audiobook. Me personally, I don't do the audiobook. It's just not me. But for a lot of brothers, it works because you may do ride shares and that just, or you may, your work requires you to travel a lot. So you have to, you might have your little headphones in and you just listening to the audiobook. And you get it auditory because also the scriptures say faith come by hearing of the word. So that's a form of reading too. You see what I'm saying? You may be reading along with the audiobook. The Lord has blessed us to have different situations. Every brother has a different situation, and you are to find what works for you so you can circle your life around the Bible. So if it works for you to follow along with the audiobook, do it. There's really no excuse. The Deacon Barzal here in the Atlanta camp pushes the audio heavy, like audiobook. If that works for you. For me, I like to sit down and open my physical Bible and read the book. That's just how I operate. Okay? That's what I like to do. And it works for me. And I read what I need to read. If I get in the commandment from the head of the camp that I'm in, then I'll be like, okay, we're reading this and that. Okay, well, I'm gonna sit down and read this and that. All right? And you figure that out. But you just read it. So when you come back in a week, oh, I ain't done with this. That's bullshit. That means you're just dragging your feet. Or you're studying and not reading, which is still bullshit because I told you to read. You see what I'm saying? So I had to come up with that lesson just to bring some understanding and some clarity between the difference between reading and studying. I hope it was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, of great millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Till the next time, I would like to say shalom, and like always, repent, for Yahweh Shai is coming back sooner than what me and you believed. Shalom.